I am ashamed that I chose to take part in concealing Mr. Trump's illicit acts rather than listening to my own conscience. I am ashamed because I know what Mr. Trump is. He is a racist, he is a con man, and he is a cheat.
Welcome to the Steve and Bobby Show. My name's Steve Williams, and my fellow host here is Bobby Bliatu. We are going to get down and dirty some of the stuff you just heard. That was Michael Cohen in the House committee with Representative Elijah Cummings and telling his story of his, how can we say, his excursions with the President of the United States.
His involvement in this cartel that is a Trump family.
That is a Trump family. And we got actually a lot of stuff. We got a lot of stuff that we're going to go through today pertaining to that. And most of it is going to be of his intro in his monologue, because there's actually a lot of important stuff that was in there. A lot of meat and potatoes were actually, if y'all seen it, the most of the other stuff was a lot of theater. So, but a lot of the meat and potatoes was in Michael Cohen's monologues, and he got into detail, specific details, and he brought receipts. So he brought the actual facts to the table. So I think this is the great thing with and this is the greatness of having the old school Democrats in there who know the business. They already know that Michael Cohen appeared in the House committee before, lied to Congress before. So Elijah Cummings was like, "Man, you got to bring receipts to this," and it seems as though that's what happened.
Yeah, he did make a statement that he had spoken to Michael Cohen and told Michael Cohen that if you come in here and lie, I'm going to pin you to the table.
Yep.
You know.
Yep.
And
he's serving 3 years for lying.
Right.
Right. Part of that is for
right.
That. Yeah. For that first appearance. So we're gonna kind of go through this. So the very first part I want to talk, and these, remember, to me, in my opinion, and you know, I don't know what your opinion is, a lot of these things can constitute impeachment in my opinion. Okay, so let's talk about the first thing. A lot of this stuff we heard was hearsay. Okay, it was media stuff. It was undisclosed resources. It was this. It was that. Right? Remember, if something previously. Right. Okay. So if the media brought out something, it was an undisclosed individual within the campaign or whatever. Michael Cohen came hard, and he gave names. He gave specific locations. He gave times. And that is what, to me, that's why this monologue, that beginning monologue, was so important, because of all the other stuff was, you know, there was all kind of stuff going on with the Republicans and Democrats, and both of us were guilty on that front. But let's talk about the first one. The question was, by Elijah Cummings, was Ivanka Trump and Donald Jr. involved in the Russian hotel deal after the election? And the reason why this is important, this here is important, and by the way, he said yes. And the reason why this is important was because, if you all remember, prior to President Barack Obama leaving office, prior to him, 6 months prior to leaving office, he put, I think it was I can't remember what against the Russians exactly. It was the sanctions that he administered to Russians that made it illegal to do business with Russia, right? So any business transaction or anything had to be okayed through the State Department. He made it illegal for you to do any type of businesses like that, right? And by him saying yes, to me, incriminates Ivanka Trump and Donald Jr. by him saying yes. What do you think on that one?
So if the sanctions specifically state with any Russian entity or Russian government, right? So it really depends who's on the other side.
Yeah.
And then the implication is there.
Yeah.
So then the next thing is, you know, we've said this time and time and again that we have to let justice play out. Yeah. Right. I mean, when these accusations are made, we have to verify that they are true. And if they are true, then you move forward with prosecution. You move forward with indictments. You got to move forward with that stuff. Yep. So remember, Michael Cohen is making accusations now. He's bringing proof to the table. Now, if you know, this seems credible, right? That's kind of what the conservatives or Republicans were trying to do.
Right.
Is to ruin
break
his credibility.
down his credibility.
But it's there. It's in paper. We've seen it. We know what has been going on. It makes sense that this was the type of stuff to take place, right? That they were doing it.
Yeah.
That it makes sense that this was, their MO to continue business, to do things, to create more income, to expand, get more towers. It was there, and we know that they were, and we know that they were working.
That they were active.
Yes.
But if you remember, during the beginning of the Trump campaign, they were denying all this.
Correct.
That nobody was doing it. This was not happening. So that was a falsehood. And this is another thing. You brought up the fact of of Republicans trying to place or try to make Michael Cohen look like a liar, a cheat, and all that. And he probably is. I'm not denying that.
No, he is.
But here's the thing.
That's why he's getting locked up.
But this is the funny thing.
Right? I mean, he told
Yeah.
everybody, right?
Yeah.
He pled guilty to lying.
Yep.
So he told everyone, it's like, here, I'm a liar. That's what he said.
Yeah.
I'm a liar.
A cheat.
Right? I'm a cheat. Here it is. I did it. And you know what? I want to, tell you what happened. So you have to take what he says kind of truthfully, and you got to see if it can be proven.
And that the funny thing is that this cheat and this liar, who was he cheating and lying for? That's what kills me.
What was his job?
What was his job to do, right? And who was he doing it for?
Right. And so, I mean, I think you're asking questions like, are you a good lawyer? I mean, he's going to jail. Is he a good lawyer?
Yeah. Well, he said, as of yesterday, I thought I was. Remember, because he had just been disbarred.
Right. So kind of the question to ask, for me is from all of these conservatives, if why are they asking questions that they already knew the answers to?
And the fact that they weren't asking questions that were pertaining to Donald Trump and him and his administration. Right. They were trying to get at his character.
Right.
You're
trying to find out the truth.
Right.
And all the rhetoric said, we've never had a criminal here in Congress. We've never, it wasn't too long ago. They've had someone who's been convicted of different crimes. Yep. Right there to work as a, what is it, national security detail.
NSA,
it doesn't make
any sense
what they were doing. It's like, how can we, it's that's like, how you catch a mob boss. That's how you catch a cartel or a gang leader. You catch it by catching their minions.
Yeah, you get the ones that are below. That's how you cut. You try. Yeah, you go under, get all the little tentacles.
I can tell you, El Chapo would say yes. All those people that stood on the, that took the witness stand. Yep. They said they were committing crimes and they're convicted now. Yeah. Their testimony should be
wiped clean. Yeah, it's ridiculous.
Yeah, you can't say that. You can't do that,
Well, I get what they were trying to do. I don't think it was successful, and I don't think it worked. So here's the other thing. It says, did Mr. Trump pay you to rig polling? Now, before we put this video up, what's funny about this is a lot of people don't know that when Trump originally ran for president, the very not the first time, when he was going down the stairs, there's stories saying that Trump paid people to appear at his campaigns, right? Mm-hmm. Like paid actors. Right now, I don't know how truthful that is, or I don't know. But when I heard this statement, did he rig polling? It was the first thing that came to my mind, because I remember this was a story at one point, that he was paying people, and I'm like, this guy paid to rig polling. So let's hear the video real quick, and then we'll talk about it here on the other side.
On January 17 of this year, the Wall Street Journal published a story stating that you hired John Gager, the owner of a consulting company who works for Liberty University in Virginia, to rig at least 2 online polls related to Donald Trump. Did you hire him?
Those were back in, I believe, 2015?
2014.
2014.
2014. So you did hire him?
Yes, I spoke with Mr. Gauger about manipulating these online polls.
Wow. I have never heard of a prominent politician, anyone within that prominent politician's administration or campaign, admit to rigging polling. That to me is fascinating. I mean, they breezed right through that, but like it wasn't a big deal. And I'm flipping out like, you rigged polling?
What does rigging polling actually mean? Have you ever taken a poll?
No,
have you ever gotten a surprise call
Oh,
and
yes,
say,
yes,
hey,
yes.
do you
Yes.
believe that this candidate is doing this?
Yes.
I mean, it's whether it's you believe it's rigged or not. I mean, rigging would mean that they told them to lie on whatever the result was.
I think the word he used was manipulated.
Right,
Yeah.
which is going in and asking questions that are going to be favorable to you.
Right.
That happens. I've taken many of these darn polls,
Yeah.
and I've listened to these polls, even from an opposing candidate
Right.
that I ran in a race, and I was like, okay, I know where this is coming from. Seriously, you're asking me these questions right now.
Yeah.
Do you believe that this candidate is being bad?
Yeah.
You know, they're doing that so then they can get, they phrase the questions in such a way that the poll will come out in their favor.
Right.
Right. And so there is manipulation in those questions. So, depending on what he really means, like did Donald Trump and them get together and say, hey, I don't care what questions you ask, at the end, this is the result that you're going to show.
Yeah.
That would be wrong.
Well,
and that polling company should lose their license to be able to do polls and do all that stuff if they're putting out fake things.
Yeah, what he was doing, I think he hired a firm and what this firm did was came in and I guess they put the questions of a certain way, but they had software that allowed it to even MSNBC polls, CNN polls. It was at the time I guess you can't do that now, but at that time in 2011 or 2012 when they originally did this, and the great thing about that was when it put him up at like 9th place, which I thought, well, why is that a big deal? But I guess thinking in 2011 terms when Hillary Clinton and Mitt Romney was getting, so I get all that. And I guess being 9th was a big deal for Trump at that time. And we talked about this in past shows that I think you think it was more about him negotiating for his TV show, his Apprentice TV show. And he does kind of talk about this later. To me, I don't know. I heard him when he said, originally the question was rigging polling. He used manipulated polling. But to me, my jaw went like, what? You rigging poll?
It doesn't surprise me. I mean, I would think you could try to attempt to do it, but I believe the other people, the poll groups, shouldn't manipulate their data in their best interest for what they're paying for.
Supposedly they have stopped the way he did it, and he does actually go in detail if the audience wants to go and take a look at it. He did go in detail as to what he did exactly, and it's something that because you can't do it anymore, I guess it's not a big deal to me, but it's just crazy.
Yeah. To answer your question, I mean, the thing he talked about too, about hiring people to show up, I don't believe that's illegal. To show up to the thing, and I believe
that's why I never thought it was a big deal.
Part of his campaign contribution money, you can see that I think he paid it out to a casting agency.
Yeah, casting agency.
He paid it out to a casting agency, and that casting agency casted a bunch of extras to appear at his events. And he didn't hire our casting agency, so I wouldn't be able to tell you, but we don't have a casting agency, but we didn't call through our circle of people. But he is about show. I mean,
and that's why to me I wasn't. This story's been out for a while, and there is proof that it's happened. He paid. To me that stuff is not a big deal to me. It just really isn't because the guy's a showman. He's in the TV industry. He understands the business. Obviously, he understands the business. He knew what he needed to do to get to step. I actually congratulate him on that part because it got him from step. To being a nobody, to being, remember,
no congratulations there, Steve. Come on.
Come on. You got to get a man some props.
You can't give him credit for trying to pay people to rig polling to make us think that.
Well, no, not the rig polling part. But paying, I don't think it's a big deal to pay to have people come to your campaigns. I don't think it's a big deal.
Oh, dude, that's lying.
Why is that lying?
Because you're paying people to come out and hold signs saying, hey, vote for me, vote for me. I mean, you can pay people to come work for you.
Yeah.
But to pay people to pretend that you to have people come out there and don't support you and hold up signs as if they are supporting you.
But it's not illegal.
It's not illegal, but that's still wrong. That's fake.
Okay.
You're pushing this thing that isn't real. Like
he's putting a facade, you're saying.
It's a complete facade.
Yeah.
And that really shouldn't be allowed. I mean, you could pay people to come sing for you. I get that, but to show a huge support behind you
that doesn't really exist.
It doesn't support you at all.
It doesn't exist.
Yeah, I mean, it's just that payment portion that is, is a problem. I have no problem with them showing up for free or showing up to do work. But pretending to be a supporter is not really work.
Not work.
Yeah.
Okay.
You might as well say, produced by and filmed by. It's a fictional event. Then I get it.
And then I want to put one last for this segment because there's actually, I want to end it off on this one. They asked Mr. Cohen, who is individual one? And he replied, Donald J. Trump. I want you to see this video.
Before the video,
okay.
Individual one. Some people hear individual one.
So,
what are you talking about?
All right,
individual one. What's individual one?
In the Mueller investigation,
right.
There were many. We had Michael Flynn that's been indicted. We had Manafort that's been indicted. Papadopoulos. A lot of these people going to jail, prison time. In every one of these indictments, there's always this little thing about individual one, and we all speculated. We all knew who individual one. Michael Cohen, in his statement, told us who individual one is. And now it's concrete evidence now. So let's put it up and let's check it out.
Yet last fall, I pled guilty in federal court to felonies for the benefit of, at the direction of, and in coordination with individual number one. And for the record, individual number one is President Donald J. Trump.
Right, so now we know everything that we had suspected.
Right.
Individual one is 100% Donald J. Trump.
Oh man,
right?
Those Fox News guys, they can't. Individual one isn't Donald Trump, it's Donald Jr.
It's
Ivanka Trump.
It's something else.
Yeah, it's coming.
So it's come back to our president. So now we know that in all of these investigations and all the reports, individual number one is Donald J. Trump. That is our president of the United States of America. Yeah. All right, we're going to move to the next segment. We're going to take a break here and
see you on the other side.
See you again.
So last segment, we had a couple of shorts there with Michael Cohen and some of the stuff that he was saying in there. So let's talk. So I mean, there was that. We're not going to get through all this stuff,
right? But but the big thing is that we know that individual one in the Mueller report, individual one in all these reports is Donald J. Trump,
right?
And so now we know that he's part of Donald J. Trump. That it is Donald J. Trump,
right?
Right. So more questions come out,
right?
Real, easy ones. Did he know about the corruption for Trump University?
And then here's the Trump University that is part of it, but with all these indictments that were going on, right? All that blacked out stuff, right? It would say individual one, and then blacked out, blacked out, blacked out. Like in the Flynn, blacked out. Manafort, blacked. Individual one, blacked out, blacked out, blacked out. Man, that's crazy that we now have concrete evidence. There's no denying it, folks. So no matter Republican, Democrat, centrist, it don't matter. Individual one is Donald J. Trump. So now there's other stuff that Michael Cohen brought, because Michael Cohen, and we didn't discuss this in the beginning too much, but Michael Cohen was the kind of lawyer. Donald Trump has all kind of lawyers. Okay, he has 50 different lawyers. He has to, but Michael Cohen was the kind of lawyer that did all the stuff that normal lawyers probably wouldn't do. He did the stuff that was probably a little shady and didn't follow too much. Well, we know for a fact now that didn't follow too much. He's going to be serving prison time for that. Just not ethical. And they asked him about the corruption of Trump University, and did he think that Trump University, was there illegalities going on with Trump University, and did Trump know that there were illegalities of the Trump University? And he said yes. Also, did Trump deal? Another thing was, did Trump deal with Felix Sater? Now, if people don't know out there who Felix Sater is a huge. He's considered a Russian mob guy in New York, well known, well connected in Russia and in the United States, very well connected, and he's also in real estate. Donald Trump has done business deals with Felix Sater. In fact, they were so close, Felix Sater, that Felix Sater's office was on the same floor as Donald Trump.
Right. It came out in the testimony.
In the testimony. And
26th floor.
26th floor, and they were literally next door to have that kind of access. So that tells you that there is no undeniable fact that there is a Russian Trump connection. We just don't know what it is. In my opinion, it could be totally legal connection. It could be a totally illegal connection. We don't know. But with Felix Sater in that realm, we know what kind of person Felix Sater is. And for Donald Trump to be dealing with someone like that, we know that that's shady. So he said yes to that. The other one, did Mr. Sater have access to Trump? We discussed that. They were on the same floor. Now, this one is, and me and you have talked about this a ton of times, about Trump being a racist. And I'm going to ask you what you think before we even get to these. There's 3 videos that kind of shocked me with Michael Cohen and the way he worded it. What do you, because there's so many aspects to someone that is either a racist. Do you think Donald Trump is a racist? Do you think Donald Trump just benefits because he's shown, he has a big racist fan base, right? Not all of them, of course. Or what do you think is, I can't figure this guy out.
Through all of this, and through all of everything that's happening, right? It's great for our country to kind of rethink racism again, okay? To rethink what it actually means. And, you know, Rashida Tlaib came out really well with what different things that people can do that are racist, that people don't realize that the actions that they take are very racist. Because, you know, when you discriminate upon somebody based on their race, based on the color of their skin or the shape of their eyes or whatever it may be, you are being racist. Right. And so, you know, Donald Trump can have people of, you know, color as friends, people who he's supporting, but his view mentality on that particular community is still racist. Yeah. Okay. And that's what
he has a racist mentality.
Right. People don't realize that. Like, you know, his inner circle, he loves them. Yeah. I mean, he doesn't see color once you're in that inner circle.
Like Omarosa was very well connected for years.
You're in that circle, you know, he doesn't see color. And I kind of get that. Once you get into that part of wealth or that connection, that kind of color disappears once he gets to know you, right? Yeah. But when he first sees you, I would believe, or sees a community or a country, you know, of people of color, he doesn't give them any respect or any capability of being able to do something.
He has a stereotype mentality.
Right. Yeah. And that's why I get upset at
people
folks.
In boxes.
I got a racist person. I mean, I got a black friend. I'm not racist. Really? Okay.
Okay, so we're going to put, so, you know, because I always like to ask, I always like to get your opinion, because it, you know, there's so many aspects to someone being racist, and there's so many different angles that they can come at. You know, I've had a neighbor when I lived in Missouri at one time. He's 90 years old, World War II vet. Man, I talked to this guy. I've had hours of talking to this guy, and he broke down one time and he told me, he was 91 years old at the time, and he told me, you know, I really couldn't stand y'all colored folk. You know, I was like, what did you just say? But I love y'all now. You know, but I would have never gotten that. So there's so many aspects to it. It's
and
weird.
What's funny is even in that piece, it's still racist. Yeah. Like, I love y'all now because, Steve, you are a representation of all black people.
Exactly.
Okay.
Okay. Never mind the fact that I'm half Mexican too. But anyway, let's take a look at Michael Cohen and his connection to Trump being racist. And he is very, very specific, and he tells some really good stories. So let's do the first video.
Mr. Trump is a racist. The country has seen Mr. Trump court white supremacists and bigots. You have heard him call poorer countries shitholes. In private, he is even worse.
So he gets kind of a little vivid. So we're going to have another one here. He gets a little bit more vivid, and he actually tells a story. So this is actually going to be pretty good. So let's check this one out.
He once asked me if I could name a country run by a black person that wasn't a shithole. This was when Barack Obama was president of the United States.
Absolutely fascinating.
What's that supposed to
I don't even know what that means. I have no.
What is that supposed to even mean?
I don't even know what that means. And what's funny is he goes, "Do you know a single country that? What did he say that a black person? Why President Obama was president?" So what do you say? The United States is a shithole country? Check this last clip out.
And while we were once driving through a struggling neighborhood in Chicago, he commented that only black people could live that way. And he told me that black people would never vote for him because they were too stupid.
I know.
What does that mean? What does that mean? I mean,
I want you to sit back and just.
This is the whole thing. Maybe Cohen is lying. There's no proof on this piece. But I mean, what does that even mean?
But I
mean, those things are so racist. I can understand how those moments would stick out.
Yeah.
To say that story.
Yeah.
And it's if you were Michael Cohen, an attorney to Donald Trump, and Donald Trump wants to get away with everything. Okay. He's the type of person that is doing something. If it could look shady, he wants it covered.
Right.
Catch and kill. Right. He wants it gone. He wants to make sure no one says it. So, as his attorney, Michael Cohen is like watching every time that Donald Trump would do something like, hey, don't do that, or, be careful.
Yeah.
So, at those moments, Michael Cohen is saying, oh, please don't say that in public. Please don't say that. So I can understand why he would remember those things.
Yeah.
Because seriously,
black
people are too stupid to vote for me? Only black people can live this way?
Oh my gosh. I mean,
what's he saying there?
But I think, with people that think like this and what I find even more fascinating of all of this is the fact that what Michael Cohen is saying is stuff we already knew. Even though the specific stories we didn't know. But there's no doubt that Donald Trump don't think of, look at he don't think of people of color, he thinks of them as less. And you can see in his confrontations, when he has confrontations with people, he calls black athletes, the kneeling athletes, calling certain politicians dumb. Just his interactions of how he talks about people of color and how he talks about other people. Now, the man is vengeful to anybody, but it's his vengefulness of how he talks about people of color in comparison to who he talks when he talks, someone that's, white or whatever. So it's fascinating. This is stuff we probably already knew. It wasn't story specific. Now it is. We're getting a vivid picture of that. And it's fast. This is fascinating stuff to me. It's just, I was sitting back watching this whole thing yesterday, watching this, and I had my earphones on, and I'm just sitting back in my thing going, this cannot be the president of the United States. There is no way. Michael Cohen got to be lying. That's the only thing I can think. This is just, the pictures were vivid. You could just picture, like he was saying when he was driving through Chicago. It's just, I don't know, it's just amazing stuff. It's just amazing stuff.
We know, okay, and that's what the argument has always been. You can look at where this is going. They're going, everyone is trying to say that he isn't racist.
Yeah.
Everyone's trying to defend their actions as not being racist.
Yep.
People are kind of going backwards on the belief in racism too. Like, okay, that's not racist.
Yeah.
I have seen and I've heard, people say that it isn't racist to do things that are completely racist. For example, someone said, well, if someone came up to me of the Asian descent and pulled their eyes like this and said, I look like you now, that isn't racist. It's like, are you kidding me?
How?
Really?
It's not being racist by doing something that's racist?
Right. Like, say, we've seen it.
Yeah.
Blackface.
Yeah. Yeah.
Right?
Yeah. Look at the governor's wife. Did you hear about the governor's wife?
No, I didn't.
The governor's wife and we had a whole show on this. We'll talk about this maybe next week or something. Governor Nordstrom's wife in Virginia singled out some kids that were visiting the governor's mansion, which is a plantation. It's an old plantation.
Yeah.
Did you hear about that?
Yeah.
He gives the cotton to the.
Yes.
There's 36 kids here, and there's 3 black kids. Give the cotton to the 3 couples. This is the disconnect, and this is the disconnect, man. And we're going back. It's like you said, we're going back.
Voluntarily going back. And defending. And you don't know why you're going back, but you are. You don't realize that you're going back.
Yep.
And you're defending something.
And they're covering it with POC. It's politically correct. You're being politically correct. No, it's just wrong to do that kind of stuff. It's wrong to tighten your eyes. It's wrong to blackface. It's wrong to call people the N-word. It's just wrong. All of this stuff is wrong. Okay? You address people and who they are by their name.
And why is it important?
Yeah.
Honestly, why is it important if he's a racist or not? Why?
Because he's
why is it important?
Because he represents the United States. He is at the pinnacle of government in the United States. He represents anything that's supposed to be American, right? It's supposed to be that positive. You know, we always look at our leaders, ever since I was a kid, even Ronald Reagan. Ronald Reagan, you know, a lot of people call Ronald Reagan racist or whatever, but he was never like that in public. Never like that. Right. He was always cordial. He always talked to people in a professional manner. He never disrespected or belittled anyone that I can remember.
Because how you run, how you enforce legislation, and how you run this country all comes down to your character.
Right.
And so if there's any kind of fight for equality, if there's any kind of a place where there's an accusation where you know, a certain group or certain community effort or government is not being fair to certain communities, well, if they're a racist, they're not going to care. When, you know, look, a president should be so busy that they can't work on everything that is in this country.
Right.
Should be. And so you have to prioritize what's important. And that's what every politician does or says, you know, these are my priorities. Then you know what they're going to work on.
Yeah.
And when your leader, and especially number one, executive, you know,
pinnacle, spearhead,
that one is racist, then you know
it dwindles
all
down.
Things that revolve around racism, you know, equality, are not going to hit his priority list. And we aren't done yet in the movement for equality and equal opportunity and equitable fair share of access to all things American.
Right.
It's not there yet. And it still needs to be part of every government's priority.
Priority. Should be number one.
And when he's a racist, it's not going to be there.
Yeah.
You know?
And so what happens is it comes from the top and it dwindles down. So if the top isn't enforcing these rules, the bottom definitely isn't going to enforce.
Well, they won't
rules.
have the opportunity to.
Yeah.
Because a lot of these things come into, okay, what are we going to put money into?
Yeah.
Or where are we going to push our efforts? So if none of that funding comes downstream, then there's nowhere to fight for anything, right?
Yep.
So there's nothing to absolutely do.
Yeah.
So in these two segments so far, we've established that Michael Cohen has come in. Michael Cohen has said, you know, all of these things and established that, you know, in all the accusations in these reports, it's Donald J. Trump.
Yes.
And in this, he's also established that Donald J. Trump has been lying about being a racist because he's a racist. You've seen him be a racist in public, but he's even worse racist, you know, in private.
Yeah, and he gave us specifics on that.
And that his family has been doing things with him. So, you know, I mean, a lot of the things that we see that are accusations, or his base would say those are just lies, this is just a witch hunt, it's not true. Now we get one of his minions, one of his number one minions, who was on the floor, who replaced
since 2006
and has his office next to Donald Trump.
That's right.
And they're always together because he's the guy who's protecting Donald Trump. Now he's in trouble. Now he is saying everything. And Elijah Cummings said it very well in the fact that he is someone in where I have grown up.
Yeah.
You know, you're a rat.
Yep. Oh, yeah.
That's a very bad thing. And for Michael Cohen to come out and do this. And now, in a place where Donald Trump called him a rat.
Yep.
Right?
Yeah.
In a place, in a world we know from where we came from, snitches get stitches, right?
Yep.
All of that comes on the line for something that's not going to go back. So we have to, in a sense, really give more truth to what he's actually saying, and we go and prove it. But it's right there. And
it's all there.
And so there's so much to say. So much was released. It was a very long thing. And so thank you for watching this part. We'll get to more about it in the next segment. So we'll catch you on the other side.
Welcome back to the Stephen Bobby Show. We are here again, segment 3. We're going to start talking about this Michael Cohen again.
Yeah, you know, we had to take a break.
Because the 3 videos, the racist videos, the poll rigging, in the beginning where he was just breaking stuff down. Listen, and you brought up a great point in the last segment that I thought was actually pretty good. You brought up the fact that the Representative Elijah Cummings of Georgia, his if no one saw his closing argument, his closing monologue, oh, please go and see it. You can go see it on the CNN. You can go see it wherever you want. And he explains the importance of government. He explains the importance of why Michael Cohen's testimony is so important and why Michael Cohen's testimony, he shouldn't be criticized simply because he lied before. And he breaks it down beautiful. Elijah, I tell you, you know, and I think we had this discussion about new Democrats and old Democrats. Remember, we had this discussion about this exact point of why. And you told me. Remember, I told you, man, AOC is, man, she's gonna take over. And you go, wait a minute now. It's good to have some of these old cats in there because they can show you the ropes. And boy, the Nancy Pelosi situation. Remember the Nancy Pelosi and how she handled the government shutdown? Absolutely brilliant. I don't think AOC could have done something like that, and I'm sure she learned. And Elijah Cummings' handling of this House committee was a brilliance. It was a masterpiece. And that's what experience brings you, and that's what experience gives you. Watch that Elijah Cummings outro there. It was absolutely fabulous. I'm glad you brought that up.
He brought it back. He brought it back to bring some credibility to what Michael Cohen is pushing out there, and what he is putting on the line. Again, there's a lot of my opinion on this is it's kind of like, what was this for, though? Right? What are we trying to do? And we're putting him up there so we can get more information. Same way we put Mark Zuckerberg up there. Same way we put CEOs of other companies up there. It's so that we can get more information to ensure that you are not going to damage the rest of the country. And this is about our current president. We have seen so many people indicted from his administration. So many people from his campaign. Going to jail. Even Representative Jordan, who's on the other side, our conservative, started mentioning McCabe and started mentioning all Comey and all these other people. And it's like, that's right. That is what makes this particular case right now very important for us to figure out what is going on. Because look, we can't push this to the side. We need to know why so many people are getting arrested. We need to know why so many people are getting fired, because this is starting to look like, in proof, what we thought was going to be before, but like a dictatorship. Someone coming in to shut up the media. Someone coming in to fire anyone who doesn't agree with them. And that's why we are doing this, to see if what we are seeing before us and what we are speculating is actually true. And that's what we needed to do yesterday. And I'm sorry, not everyone did that. On both sides.
No. There was some.
Not everyone did that.
There was some grandstanding being done there. But I think when you look at the Michael Cohen situation and how it all ironed out and how it all ended up, at the end of the day, there was really good information, and there was some stuff that was really good. There was the representative from North Dakota. She did an excellent job. AOC of New York did an excellent job. Tlaib Shahid, what's her name?
Rashida Tlaib.
Excellent. She did an excellent job of the prop and just
pointing
great
out a
stuff.
little bit about racism. Letting people understand that you put some woman up there as a darn prop. She didn't get to talk.
Didn't say nothing.
She didn't get to speak.
Just like a poster.
She just stood there.
Like a poster.
Donald Trump hired her. Great.
Why would you put Ben Carson out there?
Why didn't Ben Carson? Why put anybody out there?
I'm just saying, Ben Carson's the head of HUD.
Why put anyone out there? It makes no sense whatsoever.
You know what? I bet you Ben Carson, because she is part of HUD too.
Right.
So I bet you Ben Carson probably said he didn't want to do it.
I don't know. I mean, the fact that they actually asked someone to come and do it, they did
ridiculous.
That, it shows how it's racist. I mean, the fact that you have to prove it that way.
Unattached to reality they are.
And I'm glad his, grandchildren or something, and he's best friends with Elijah Cummings, and all that's great. I mean, that's great.
That's so wonderful.
But what you do in life and how
you're governing,
that is where it goes to show if you're racist or not. How you want to make a point goes to show how you are racist or not. But there are things yesterday that I wish they would have asked. I wish they would have asked of Michael Cohen that in his job, right, in his job to protect Donald Trump, did it have a side effect of actually protecting anyone in that room or any other candidate? Did he have to lie, or did he have to take action to hold someone off or to stop something from happening that would affect Donald Trump? Right? Did anyone in that room or in Congress?
Why is Nunez coming in my mind right now? Devin Nunez comes right in my mind. It's the first thing he's our representative, by the way. We're located here in the central part of Fresno, so he represents us. So, that was that. So what do you think? So if you were to sit back and look, you're outside looking in, and you're seeing this. Say you're a Canadian. Okay, and you're outside looking in. Okay, this is not necessarily going to affect you. Do you think Michael Cohen's testimony was effective?
I do.
Okay.
I do. effective in making us as a country look bad. That's the honest truth. It was very. It was like watching an episode of Law and Order, or an episode of Matlock or something. Yeah. And everyone was trying something different. You could tell Michael Cohen's face. He was like, "Really, you're asking me that?
Yeah, yeah.
Really? I mean, I'm here."
That was the lawyer.
You're asking me that.
That was the lawyer.
Like, seriously?
Yeah.
Really, there's someone there that has a ton of information, or should have a ton of information.
Yep.
And we, people like AOC, they didn't come in it as a way of attacking him to, discredit Donald Trump in that fact. She came in to let me find a way to get his taxes. And everybody
came in.
There's some people who came in it with like, hey, you know what? Today's today.
Mission. They were
I
mission.
need to get this stuff out there so I can find how we're going to do these other things. So they had other agendas.
I was really surprised that she was on that committee. She was on the House committee. I didn't realize Nancy Pelosi. That's a powerful committee for her to be on, and that I didn't even realize she was going to be there until she started talking. I was like, oh, AOC's here. Oh, that and that's Nancy Pelosi, and that's her. I know the right hates her, but I'm telling you what, she is magnificent. She's just a magnificent politician, and I appreciate her. Just like Elijah Cummings, I appreciate him. Just that skill set, that experience was just it showed yesterday. It showed, and we saw an unusual part of the inner circles of Trump, the inner circles of what's going on, of how it's handling. If you guys haven't seen the Michael Cohen. His whole statement was absolutely wonderful. You got to go watch the whole thing. I think it's 37 minutes long. We couldn't go through it because it was just so much. We had about 19 clips that we could have showed you guys, but just don't have the time to. So, but every piece of it, within every 2 or 3 minutes was, your jaws were dropped. Did he just say what I thought he said?
Right.
Did he just say that? Did he just say poll rigging?
Well, there's a lot of stuff like, oh, I'm glad you told the truth. It's not what I wanted.
Yeah.
I mean, he couldn't say that there was collusion.
Yeah.
He couldn't say 100% that it was there, but he knows that it was there, right?
Yep.
So that's fine, and that's not his job, and that he didn't have a job. He came to testify, So some things as we, talk about, just put it all out there. There's something that I'm interested in seeing, which is that truth form, where he came under attack for putting that he had no contracts with any foreign entities, and his attorneys didn't want him to fill it out.
Yeah, Higgins was
and he's going to have to fill it out. That filling that form out might possibly bring in more stuff.
Ethical charges,
it might even bring in, if he lies on it, he might even get in more trouble. And you can tell.
Yeah.
He did not want to put everything on there.
Yeah.
And they fought it. So he's gonna.
You know what I think, though? You know what I think a lot of that has to do with, and this is just my opinion. When I heard that, and I know Higgins, I think he's from North Carolina, wherever he's from, was pounding him on that, and the Republicans kept surrendering their time to him because it's like, I got him. Not really, because at the end of the day, I think, this is my opinion, I think there were certain parts of that he left out because I think there is other investigations that connect that he didn't want to explain. And I think that was something that was done deliberately and on purpose. And, he mentioned that in his, there was a part about, they specifically asked him, are there other ongoing investigations that are presently happening with Donald Trump? And he said, yes. And then they were specific. Was it in the Northern District of New York? Yes. To me, tells you right there that Donald Trump, it's not just this what you're seeing. It's not just that testimony. There's other stuff involved here. Yeah. I
mean, the Southern District of New York is another case.
Yeah.
And so let's get this clear with a lot of folks too, especially if you talk to someone who is from Trump's base. This testimony, and I kept hearing the Republican representatives continually say this, is that they kept saying that his testimony before Congress was going to be something that would minimize his time. And that is not the case, okay? Only things that could minimize his time under, I believe what they call Section 35, would be things to push that investigation forward, not what he testified in front of the House. So what he did yesterday had nothing to do with minimizing his time served.
Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
And that's kind of normal practice anywhere, right? You're going to snitch out your boss, you know, to get your boss in trouble. Then you minimize your time for that prosecuting, you know, district. Not in this thing. It's all informational testimony.
Right.
Right. And so
he's not getting nothing out of it, is what you're saying.
You know, he's just, you know, what he's getting is clearing his soul.
Yeah.
What he's getting is, you know, telling everybody how he screwed up. You know, that's what he's getting and trying to do the right thing. But, you know, it doesn't mean that he's not also hiding some other things. That, you know, could get him more sentence.
Or deliberately not saying things because it's under
it's under investigation somewhere else. But I mean, I believe if he couldn't put those foreign contracts on there, because of another investigation, he would have said, I'm not allowed to. You know, things by nature of those contracts have been sealed or something, like I'm not allowed to. I believe, because he said
yeah, because that's true. He did say it on other things.
Right, and he would have said it there too.
Yeah, so he did say that I'm not, you know, I'm not, okay.
Doesn't make Cohen a saint. He's far from it.
Right? Nobody's here saying that.
He was the good lawyer in the sense that he did everything that he could to protect somebody, illegal or not illegal. You know
his
what I mean?
only client.
Right. So,
and also too, we have to understand that the reason why a lot of these cases are being transferred over to the Southern District of New York is to outmaneuver the what is it that Trump can do? He can where he could take somebody like he did Judge or Sheriff Apano, whatever his name is. Apio. What I can't pardon him. So, from what I'm told, you can correct me if I'm wrong here. If it's in the Southern District, if it's within the state boundaries, that's beyond Trump's ability to pardon someone. Is that correct? It's only if it's federal.
Well, if it's a felony, though, a federal felony, regardless, you know, like murder is murder in the state and the federal government. So I don't think the state line touches that. So,
but I mean, if he's found guilty within state, I think he can't pardon anyone. So, say for example, if Flynn were to get prosecuted within the state of New York, Trump can't pardon him, can he? Or maybe he can't.
I actually don't know.
So,
we'd have to look that up. But I do believe that he could, though.
Okay.
I think the governor can pardon within the state, but can't, you know, these.
No, I mean Trump.
I know, I think Trump, because a lot of these crimes are also, in a sense, federal crimes.
Yeah, federal crimes.
And then where they go, it's just where they serve. It's what we give over.
So what's the purpose of transferring cases to the Southern District then? What would be the reasoning behind that? Why isn't Mueller just, because a lot of these...
Because that's not what Mueller's investigating, this stuff.
Okay, so this is stuff that's...
investigating... That Mueller is only investigating Russian collusion.
Yeah, so if there's things that...
So, the campaign finance, all of those things, that's not...
So things that fall under the state mandates, state laws...
That's why he drops it off. It's like, hey, you know what, I got some information, here you go.
That's how they got Papadopoulos, was through the Southern District. So, and I know Cohen is supposed to be... the Southern District's got stuff on him too. They haven't sentenced him yet, right? He hasn't been sentenced. The sentencing was from Mueller, and the federal case that was against him, not the Southern District case. Okay, well that's just crazy stuff. Crazy stuff going on in the big the Michael Cohen and man, I tell you.
All in all, I say Donald Trump resigns this year.
You keep saying that.
This year. And so, start pushing your presidential candidates and start thinking who's going to be the one that's going to be representing the...
who's going to be representing you?
The Republicans.
Who's got the most check marks?
Yeah. Just before we go, one thing that I believe that's going to happen through all of this, and I think Donald Trump does resign. If he does resign, he's waiting till the Republicans can't find somebody. So, you're looking towards the end of the year because primaries are in March. He doesn't want to give them the chance to do it. Whatever happens, he wants to set it up in a way that when he leaves, it fails.
Because that's the way he
That's what it is. It's their fault. Look, I was running it great.
Yeah. So, and they pushed me out.
Yep. So there's a lot to pay attention to, a lot of things to do, but thank you for watching it, making it this far.
Thank you, guys.
Coming to you from Mad Productions, Entertainment, and Mad Talk TV shows, Stephen Bobby Show. Catch you later.